how and why will you leverage green community initiatives. The city has really done a very good job over the last few years, and I'm proud of being part of that. Let me give you a few examples. First of all, water. Limiting the amount of water that we put on our lawns. You know, when I first got on the city council 6 years ago, I used to get complaints and emails as soon as we put the watering restrictions on in the summer. Now everyone knows that what the restrictions are all the time. And after paying $70 million for water from Lewis and Clark, people recognize there's a value in it, and we are actually using less water per capita today than we were 6 years ago. Part of that is because of the rebate program that we have on washers and washers, toilets, and then your remote for the lawn watering as well. That has encouraged people to use that program and use less water and save them money long term, and that has also contributed to us using less water per capita. And then the methane gas that we're capturing and reusing in the ethanol plant. Those are 3 great examples. So going forward, how would I do more to encourage that? Well, I think partnerships with your group, like we've talked about, would be wonderful, because although the city has some projects with Leading Green, I think we can do more to partner with you to do things that the city can't do. For example, I was sitting in my backyard early one morning, one of those rare mornings when I got outside to exercise, and I watched 5 garbage trucks go by. The city can't force consolidation of that, but I think that we could partner together, and your group could maybe encourage neighbors to work together to find, okay, if you across the street are using ABC garbage service, maybe I should too, but we just don't think about that. So helping us in the education process, or also helping us in terms of showing the business common sense in going green, using architects in your organization to help show the dollars and cents of building green buildings, because again, if the city requires it, it's a much harder path than if we had your group working with us to educate the public about the value in that and saving dollars and cents, and also saving our environment. I think those are the kinds of things, finding those partnerships and not punishing, but incentivizing to do more sustainability in the community.
Well, I'm going to try to amend 6 and 3 together for my answer. So the first one is regarding what we do to improve how we deal with waste. You know, it seems to me that most citizens in Sioux Falls will recycle, that want to recycle. We need to make sure that they're educated on what we're doing with recycling. And we certainly know the end receiver of waste, the city, certainly wants people to recycle, because it lowers our cost for landfills. Anything that doesn't go in, that we recycle, isn't going to the landfill, and we can save money on it, because when we put in a new cell, it's very, very expensive. So who's in the middle there? Well, it's the haulers. We need to make sure we're holding the haulers' hands to the fire when they're not recycling like they should. We've heard time and time again with the city council how people will come up and say, well, I recycle, and then my garbage guy comes and he throws it all in the same truck. We can't allow that to happen. We've got a very low, I think we're maybe 13, 14% recycle rate. We need to start holding their hands to the fire in a measurable way. But another idea we can do, because we license all the haulers, we can look at maybe bidding out sections of the city. I know Kermit is free enterprise, and believe me, I'm a free enterprise guy too. But that's a way we can reduce the traffic, the wear and tear on our city roads, and still keep competition. Where we segment out the city, and little by little, we bid it out to see and keep that competitive rate there. But then as far as number 3 and how we leverage things, you know, the city has its own sustainability plan. And a large part of that plan is not only figuring out how the city can be more environmentally friendly, but also educating citizens. And I think to a large degree that's what you guys, what Sioux Falls Green is about too. So we have to make sure that we're not duplicating efforts and that we're working together. And we can educate citizens, because I truly believe if people are educated, they will recycle. And our family is example 1. We did not recycle, what, 5, 6, 7 years ago. We learned how to do it. Today, I think we probably have 2 to 1 in our recycling versus the waste. We recycle at Fuddruckers. We certainly separate cardboard and all the other things. But only we're doing other things as well. We put in fluorescent lights in there. Again, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than an incandescent light, it has less heat in the summertime, and it reduces my air conditioning costs. So I think if we show people we can lead by example, and we can use the carrot approach.
Well, the question I'd like to talk about is question number 4, dealing with various design issues. I've been on the Sioux Falls City Council for 8 years, and there are definitely changes we have to make in Sioux Falls. Let me just give you an example. A number of years ago, there was a gentleman who came to me and said he would like to establish a business on South Minnesota Avenue. And besides doing that, he would also like to live in the upper story of the building where he was going to have his business. And he expressed concern that he might not be able to do that. Well, I checked on that, and guess what? At that time, he was not allowed to have his business on Minnesota Avenue in the bottom level, and he could not live on the top level. Well, what does that say about thinking green? I mean, here's a person who would have his business and home together on South Minnesota, and he'd have to travel around the community from his house to his business. We have to provide a lot more flexibility here when it comes to planning and establishing standards here in Sioux Falls. During my 8 years on the council, I have spent time going to other communities, other cities in the United States that do things differently than we do in Sioux Falls. I've been to Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, Houston, and other communities, taking a look at their different design standards than we have here. And I've come away from this with the idea that, yes, we have to have more flexibility, because with more flexibility, then we can allow people to possibly engage in smart growth. Now, smart growth is a design concept that wants to try to encourage people to live in neighborhoods close to their work. And I've seen smart growth communities near the Washington, D.C. area, now so importantly. Those have a lot of merit. But for many years here in Sioux Falls, we didn't allow that at all. You know, we would have you travel a distance down to your job, and then in the evening go home. Why not have your work and your where you live close together so you don't have to engage in all that travel? Well, fortunately, Sioux Falls is getting on the bandwagon now with the concept of Shape Sioux Falls. We are now going to be providing more flexibility so that we can have those kind of principles where people can live and work in the same location without driving their cars a lot, and at the same time encouraging people to walk. So once again, it's important when you talk about design to allow a lot of flexibility.